Hello, Facebook fam. How
Hello,
is
hello.
everyone doing today? It
Yes.
is Tuesday. I promise. Every single time we come on here, I have no clue what day it is. I promise. And it's not even fake. So it is Tuesday. We are here for interview tips. And I'm excited about today because I'm so glad that we thought of uh, going on about entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
So first, let us introduce ourselves. So, Tish, you want to introduce who you are?
Sure. My name is Tish. I'm a workforce development professional. I'm here to help you get the job. Go ahead, Danielle.
Oh, okay.
Keep it simple.
That was all we
Keep
had.
it simple.
Okay. Well, all right. Since she don't want to talk about herself today,
I will talk a little bit more. I'm sorry. I just wanted to
uh,
briefly introduce myself. I'm
okay.
sorry. So, okay, everybody, as you know, I help you get the job. And what that basically means is I help you from the beginning of the process, which is creating the resume, the cover letter. Even if you need help with finding the jobs, I help you with finding leads. When you're ready for the interview, I can help you with your mock interview process. And then you get the job. Now, is that a guarantee all the time? No, but I help you prepare and get the promotional tools that you need ready so that you can be ready for the job. So if you get the job, you do. If you don't, then we'll keep it moving and keep on trucking and do more so we can do what we need to do to get you the job. So that's it.
Awesome
Keeping
sauce.
it simple.
Just keeping it
Yes.
simple. Okay. Well, I'm glad she went further because she does like
Yes.
80 things, you guys. Okay.
Sorry.
So, uh, I am Danielle D. Smith. I'm all up in the screen. My bad, y'all. I'm trying to get to y'all. No. So I am Danielle D. Smith. I have a couple of hats, but the hat that I am helping you guys with is getting a job, flat out.
Mm-hmm.
I like to help with so thank you for everyone that's joining in. For some reason,
Yes.
I'm not able to see today. I'm not seeing
All right.
anybody that
I'll
joined
let you know.
weird. Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Um and but anywho, I like to help businesses to be able to keep their business. Basically, that's what that boils down to.
Mhm.
So if you're a small business and need assistance with hiring or firing, then I'm your girl. You want to contact
Yeah.
me and I can walk you through it or I can do it for you. But I basically help companies to be able to make money. That's at the end of the day, that's what it's about. You have to make that money so you
Mhm.
can keep your doors open. And how do you do
Mhm.
that? You hire the correct people and you fire the correct people when they need to go. Okay.
Mhm.
If you keep people working for you and they should not be, your money is going to continue to walk out the door. So today, we thought we'd go a different way. I see entrepreneurs that, for however long you've been doing it, want to get back into the job force. And whether it's, you permanently want to get back into the job force, or, let's say, for instance, you have a company and you guys have ups and downs, meaning,
Mhm.
a particular season is coming and you want to get a job in the meantime, you want to go to corporate America in that meantime to just kind of supplement your income, then that's who I'm talking to today,
Mhm.
and we're gonna talk to you in a different sense, because I think it's definitely important, because I've seen entrepreneurs that come in and want to get a corporate position, and they really don't go about it the right way. And what
Mhm.
can happen is you just basically won't get that job. So I want you to look at it like, and we'll go back and forth because Tish is the expert on
Mhm.
resumes. I am not. I can look at them and tell you if they're great, but I do not like
Mhm.
to develop them at all. So do not reach out to me for that. Reach out to Tish. Okay. But like I said, I can look at them. And one thing that is always missing when it comes to, or I don't want to say always, but a lot of times what's missing when you do your resume and you're an entrepreneur looking to get a job, you highlight that you're the CEO, you're the president, you're the owner. You highlight those things. And the first thing that I think about is, oh, okay, so she's going to be here for a month. She's not going to be here for a long time because he or she is going to go back to being an entrepreneur, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And honestly, I'm telling you guys kind of like, I don't want to say a secret, but a secret. So come in close. Come in close.
Here we go.
So it's like, right, get close. That's why I was so close to the screen, because it's a secret. Because I want people to get a job, right? But honestly, so I'm gonna show you both. So I'm gonna show you both ways. Honestly, if you're as an employee, as an employer, I want to hire somebody that's going to stay there forever, right? That's really my goal. I want somebody that's going to be a lifer. I want to be able to give you benefits. Well, some companies, have that feeling, but they want you to be there forever, bottom line. But then as an entrepreneur, you need somebody to take care of your family temporarily, because business is low and maybe you're looking to get a job for 3 to 6 months. Let's say 6 months. 6 months isn't a long time, but it's a long time. Okay. And so the way to be able to do that is to not highlight that you're an owner of a company, but highlight that you had a position in that company.
Exactly.
Okay? So you don't want to say that you're the owner, you're the CEO. Those things are great. Have those accolades somewhere else. But on your resume, you want to pick a position that you had other than CEO or president or owner, because you want to highlight the things that you've done for your company, because those are great things. Okay. And they're things that can get you a job. You know how to do, accounts payable, I know how to do spreadsheets, and, you had to do that for your company. Okay, so then I need for you to do that for the employee then. The employer, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you want to highlight those things that you've done, but you do not want to say that you're the owner or CEO or president. Okay. So that's very, very important, because automatically I'm not going to look at your resume flat out. Flat out, I'm not, because the first thing in my mind is they are leaving in a month or two. The other thing that I'm going to think is that you're going to be hard to work with, because a lot of times when you're a CEO or you're the entrepreneur, you're the boss, right? And so it takes some time and for you to adjust to corporate America. And trust me, I've been there. I'm an entrepreneur. Listen, and I've been a boss. I've had a boss. Even as management, you still have a boss. All right. So I get that. It's so hard to say this.
Yes, it is.
People think that I don't know why my lighting, I apologize, guys, for doing this. People think that it's minor, but it's not. So so an employer is going to think they're not going to want to take direction because they're a boss. And although in corporate America, like I said, there's always a boss, right? So I don't care if you're the VP, you have a boss. If you're the president of the company, you have a boss. You know what I mean? So there's always, if you're the CEO and you have a board, they're kind of a boss, so at every level, there's still a boss. But when you are an entrepreneur, you pretty much are the boss. And so it's hard to take direction a lot of times when you go over to corporate America. And I get it, guys, but when you show that you are the CEO, coming to the CEO for a job in corporate America, it clashes.
Yeah.
Because, then there's some bosses that they're like, they don't see you, wanting to take direction. They're thinking that, you guys are just going to bump heads a lot. So
Right.
I don't want that. And then they might be a hater. They flat out may be a hater, meaning
True.
they just always want to be at the top. They never want to see their employees make it. They could be that type of person where they never want to see their employees increase or anything like that above them. And so if they're a top manager and you're a top manager, meaning the owner of your company, and the two try to come together, like I said, they could be a hater and be like not wanting to see you move into their spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's why I said, being an entrepreneur is great. I definitely get that you want to, need to, have to, whatever, however you want to put that, need to get employment sometimes, especially in the time right now. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of small business owners are not getting help, especially since, unemployment, we have to wait until the 15th, to be able to get it. I mean, there's so many things right now where we're like, I need a job. And so to be able to get that job, number one, spice up your resume, contact Tish so that you can get some help with that. Contact her so she can get it. And then when she spices up your resume, she is going to make sure that you do not have boss, CEO, president, owner on your resume, so that and honestly, like I said, sometimes you think it's real minor. Like let's say for instance that you do Mary Kay. Okay. So Mary Kay, you're your own boss, but you're a consultant, right? But you are your own boss. You can do 1099 with that and everything. Okay. So you may think that that's minor, like it's just Mary Kay. It's not, my own trucking company or anything like that. But still, it's still that same umbrella, because if you're Mary Kay and you got that pink Cadillac and you're a director, and you have people under you, anybody that knows Mary Kay knows when you get to the pink Cadillac, you're like director, right? Like you're up there. You have a team under you, so you're used to being a boss. You're used to giving direction. You're used to, supporting your team or supporting a team. You know what I mean? So employers look at that and they're like, yeah, I don't want him or her coming in here trying to take over.
Right.
That's basically what it's about. So, you just want to make sure that you have your resume in a way that is welcoming to an employer. And the other thing is, then once you get in there, it's like I said, so I already said, you basically, I don't want to,
Ebony. I don't want to say real quick. Hi, Ebony.
Oh, hey, Ebony. I see she's on now.
Ebony Little. Yep.
Hey, Sandra. I see you're on as well. So I don't want to say you're lying. You're just omitting portions of the truth.
Right. Can I say something about that? So you have to remember, you're going into an environment where you're considered an employee and you're most likely going to be a subordinate. So you have to frame your resume to reflect that that's what you're going to do when you go there, and not show that you are a CEO of your business unless you're going to be an entrepreneur, which is a person who works for a company and runs it like an entrepreneur. But that's more of a C-suite type of position because you're more of an executive at that point. Okay. And you're probably given a sector of a region or something like that to oversee for a company. But unless they're looking for that, you want to stay clear of showing yourself as being a person who has that particular role, because it may be a conflict of interest, or it may also, like you say, make someone feel inferior. Or think that you're not going to be there for longer than a few months, or they feel like they may be hindering you from moving forward if you come and work for them, because you may not be compatible or you may not stay there for a while. So another thing, can I say this as well, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Another thing that I think you should also keep in mind, I'm sorry, because I knew you had thoughts and I didn't want you to lose them. Okay, you all right? All right. So I want to say that you want to also keep in mind that it's still important to show if you are going for a manager role that you are experiencing supervisory roles or managerial roles. So you can highlight under your skills that information as well as under your job description when you put information in there like supervise this many people, train this many people, but you don't have to say that you're the CEO or the president or founder of an entity. Because again, you want to stay clear of them thinking that you may be coming there trying to take their clients or that you are probably there to just do your own agenda and not stay for long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's very true. You said it like so eloquently and so better than I could. So,
Oh,
see, that's why we're together. We are doing things together, guys.
hey. Mm-hmm.
But that's so true, and so it's just I don't want people to feel bad about getting a job when you're an entrepreneur, because like I said, I'm an entrepreneur, and I asked, I don't really like to go whole religious here or anything like that because this isn't the platform. But I'm saying, like, I sincerely had a conversation with God and was like, listen, until you take me off of my job full time, please let me work a job that I enjoy. And so recruiting is it for me. Like, I enjoy doing recruiting. I love it. I love doing HR work. And so it was perfect for me, and being a supervisor and all that kind of stuff. Like, I love all of that. And but mostly into the recruiting side. I enjoy recruiting. I enjoy teaching recruiting. So if there's any recruiters on the line, like if you're looking for tips on how to, uh, get people through the door, or if you're looking for tips on how to get people to stay, whether it's directly or indirectly, because sometimes you're hiring, I've done work for recruiting for a company directly, and I've done recruiting at a staffing agency. So I've done both, and I definitely understand like how to retain people both ways, and it can be difficult, especially I want to say probably, the staffing agency might be harder because you get a lot of people that are in and out, just depending on the type of work that you're doing for the staffing company. But it can be a little bit harder, but it's still possible. And, just trying to come up with different ways, because people always want to feel like they're wanted, and it's like if you're with a staffing agency, people never want to feel like they're a number. Like, I come to you and I'm a number, and I'm a quota, because for those that work in the staffing agencies, yeah, we have to get, if an employer calls us and says they need 20 people, yeah, we need 20 people, but we need 20 people that are going to stay. So we have a quota, and we have a staying quota. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't just help us, to get you in the door and you're right back out the next day. That doesn't help. So we have quotas, we have all that kind of stuff that we have to meet, and we have to keep people. And how do you do that? So it's different ways of doing that. So if you're a recruiter, if you know a recruiter that's looking for some assistance, have them reach out to me. I sincerely enjoy it. Let's see.
So
go ahead.
I have a question for you. When it comes to recruiting people, as a job developer, my job was to help people get jobs. So I would meet someone like you when I go into a staffing agency and talk to you about my potential, these individuals that are potential candidates for your employers. And I ask questions like, okay, can you tell me how someone with a certain type of disability can get a job with this company? Like, what type of roles can they get, kind of positions? So I want to know from you, what is the likelihood of a company hiring someone with like a cognitive disability or someone who has a vision disability? Like, how do you go about helping those individuals get jobs with
It
your employer?
pretty much is the same way, I want to say, but so that when you go to that person at the staffing agency, you want to make them aware of what all of that means, because sometimes it's not the more, if it's not an agency that's specifically just for disabilities, because there are some out there, but then there are, there's tons that are not. So it's like you want to bring that knowledge to that recruiter and let them know what they're able to do, what that person is able to do and what they're not able to do, so that they can make sure that they find the correct job for them and that they can fight for that job for them. And that doesn't mean that it's an extra fight than anybody else, because you're fighting for everybody to get a job. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not that it's any different because they have a disability. What it is that you just want to find the right fit for them, just as I'm finding the right fit for anybody. But when you tell me, because what I've seen is, I remember working with a gentleman that had a disability. He came directly. Now, I've worked with, third parties that would come in for those that have disabilities. And then I've worked directly with associates. So I just recall that this guy came in directly, and he didn't want to tell me all of his disabilities. And I only knew because his, how do I say this? Like, his walk was different, but I didn't know it was a disability. Okay. So then you have to tell me that, I'm going to assume when I see you, but you really need to tell me, okay, I can't walk distance. I can walk from my car to the building, and that's pretty much it. But if it's a job where it's at a warehouse and they have to go back and forth, okay, I can't have you as a runner, but I could have you as QA, which is quality assurance. So whereas they normally, at a warehouse are in one place, people are bringing the work to them, and so it's like, I can get you a job as long as I know what it is that your restrictions are. So when you explain it, to that recruiter, and you're saying, this is exactly what they can do, this is exactly what they cannot do, and it's really being clear. And then they'll say, sit there and think about, okay, where can I send them? Because then they have to then disclose to the company, so when we fill out an application, it asks you, do you have a disability? Yes or no, or you choose not to answer. And there's a fourth response as well. What's the fourth response?
Because it's either you do, you don't, you choose not to answer. That's the only ones I know.
I recently saw a fourth, and I was like, okay. But those are the typical ones that you see, though.
Okay.
No, I choose not to answer. Okay. That basically, honestly, is helping their bottom line when you answer. So if you answer yes, that's helping their bottom line. It's just like if you answer yes for, or not yes, but when you answer what your race is, it goes to their bottom line. People don't understand. You don't have to answer that question. You can choose, to not answer it. That's totally, you won't miss out on the job by
saying, good to know.
Yeah, you won't miss out on the job by answering that you, or clicking the option that you don't want to answer it, even when it comes to race, sex, and then the disability. When it asks you those questions, honestly, I would tell you, though, if you answer that you don't want to answer on one, you might as well put that for all three.
Makes sense.
And so, because it's like, okay, so you want to, not that anything is wrong with this, but I'm just suggesting that you answer that you don't want to respond on all three of those questions. Okay.
Okay.
So when it comes to your race, we can't discriminate because of your race, right? But that company can get funding, a different kind of funding for them answering for you answering that. So let's see how more politically correct I can say this.
Okay. Are you talking about the WOTC?
Yes. Talking about,
okay, so that's not based on race, more so on your financial income, right? And whether or not you have a criminal background, things of that nature.
Right. WOTC is about that. But when it comes to EEO, they're asking you, what is your race? What is your sex? And if you have a disability or not. WOTC doesn't typically go into place until if you're looking for a government job, usually if you're at a staffing agency, they off rip are going to have that for sure. They're going to have those questions because they get funding, for government funding for that as well. And so definitely you're going to see it there. But so if you answer that question on one and not the other, it's just kind of, I don't want to say it's taboo, but it's just, it would be better.
Like you're hiding something. Yeah, it looks like you're hiding something. So the WOTC, do you want me to tell them what that means?
Sure.
Okay, it's called Work Opportunity Tax Credit. So like Danielle stated, if you are an employer, I can't speak for all employers, but employers can get a tax credit, I believe, at the end of the year for employees that qualify for certain types of public assistance, or if they have a situation where they have a disability, they're getting some type of funding. So, and also people who tend to have a criminal background tend to have low income. So they tend to get a credit because of that as well. So to be transparent, people who have criminal backgrounds and they apply for jobs, they already know what they bring to the table. They can give you an incentive for them working for you. So they kind of use it as leverage in their interviews to help people feel at ease with hiring them. And I'm talking about disabilities and I'm talking about criminal backgrounds because some people who are entrepreneurs have disabilities. Okay. And some people who are entrepreneurs have criminal backgrounds.
Yes.
So with that being said, all this applies to what we're talking about today regarding being an entrepreneur and applying for jobs.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure we understand we're going to come back to that.
Yeah. Okay. Asking asking that question, it also goes into, when it comes to the whole criminal background and everything, listen, this is a topic that I cannot stand. It irritates my soul to no degree. And I definitely don't shy about this, is how the system handles those that have a criminal background. It's horrible. They say, I'm in Ohio. They say, we have the don't check the box, but we still have to ask because there's still stipulations, into the hiring, so you don't check the box, but then you have to answer it, at the end of the day. And what they're basically trying to do is, if I interview you and I don't know that you have a criminal background and you're amazing, I get a great vibe from you and all that kind of stuff, I'm more likely to hire you and deal with the consequences later. Okay. But my insurance could be ridiculous and that's really what it's about. Insurance companies companies have to have insurance. They have to have business insurance to function, right? Just in case anything happens. Well, their insurance goes up when they work with those that have a criminal background. And some companies just do not want to pay that. And honestly, that's what it is. So insurance companies charge this astronomical number to work with those that have a criminal background, depending on what that criminal background is. And employers just don't want to take that on. And that's why they have those stipulations. Now I get it, okay, if you've had anything in the family of theft, if you've had anything, petty theft, unauthorized use, if you've had anything in the family of theft, and I'm asking you to work somewhere where they have credit card information, personal information, cash, then yeah, I want to know if you have a history of theft, and that's where it comes into play. So if you have anything theft related, it's like you want to steer clear from any place that has a lot of personal information, cash, all that kind of stuff. Each job is going to be different, but I'm saying, unfortunately, that's just how it is when it comes to something that is theft, related. The same thing with anything violent, so then they're going to say, are they going to be violent at the job? What was the stipulation on it? When was it? So for those that had, a charge that was 20 years ago and you haven't had anything else ever in your, in those 20 years, then hey, that was a one-time deal. But if you're a repeat offender, unfortunately, they're going to look at you in a different kind of manner. Every job has to do a criminal background check. And the reason why they do it is it goes according to their insurance. That's one of the main reasons. And I can't hire somebody if my insurance is going to be $20,000 more, a year, for hiring somebody with this particular background. Some companies don't care, some do. And then, like I said, you can find those situations. I recall, and I will always tell this story. I recall working at a warehouse. I will not say where. Working at a warehouse. This particular warehouse was like, listen, anything violent, theft. Usually, warehouses, you definitely can't have theft because you're dealing with, material,
merchandise.
Merchandise. Thank you. I said material. I meant merchandise. Yeah. But this particular guy, it was the holiday season, and a lot of warehouses will hire almost anybody. I'm just being honest, guys. They'll almost hire anybody during the Christmas season because they need bodies. Okay. And they know it's only temporary. It's usually 3 months. So it's usually October through January or September through January, and then they're done with you. You know what I mean? And a lot of people do like that, they just needed money for Christmas or whatever. Well, anyways, so this particular guy came in, and I knew from the get-go, I said, I'm telling you guys, he's going to be a stellar employee. And he had murder on his background. Something that happened when he was like 17. Okay. I think it was like 17. He had just gotten out. He had been out for 2 years, I think. And had been trying to, do some entrepreneur work because he knew it was going to be hard for him to get a job.
The struggle. Yeah.
Exactly. So he said, I'm going to try this, warehouse, and, I'm going to try this staffing agency, and maybe I'll get through. And he did. And so I recall the staffing agency was like, look, just let him through, he'll be gone after the season. The warehouse won't even check him, unless they decide to hire him on, and we'll get him out before then. I said, I'm telling y'all right now, I know he's going to be a stellar employee. And guess what? He was. He came to work on time. I never had not one issue with him. His numbers were amazing. So after 2 months, he was supposed to be there for 4 months. After 2 months, they wanted to hire him.
Wow.
And the crazy part is they didn't come to me. They went directly to him and said, hey, we want to hire you. So he was spooked, like, Ms. Danielle, what do I do? I know I'm supposed to lay low. I mean, because he knew he could only be there for, those couple of months and be out, because he knew that the company was going to hire him.
Okay.
So they went directly to him, and he was like, Ms. Danielle, what do I do? And I was like, I mean, don't.
What you have to lose, right?
You
said don't say anything?
Well, I told him, my company said don't say anything. Okay. My company said don't say anything. He ended up saying something. I suggested he say something. My company said no. Okay. And I said, because they kept cornering him, he had no choice. You know what I'm saying? Now, if they came to him one time and that was it, then okay, fine. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, Ms. Danielle, they've come to me again. What do I do? And I was like, just say something. And so he told the manager. The manager said, I don't even care. He said, you're an amazing employee. You know, what is your future? What do you want to do? He told him, you know, he wanted to be a manager. I mean, he was an amazing, amazing, amazing employee. Amazing.
Okay.
Like I said, came to work on time all the time. Never had issues with him being on his breaks for a long time, or his lunches for a long time. He came back when he was supposed to. His numbers were amazing. His attitude while at work was great. I mean, not one issue. I knew they was going to approach him. I knew they were.
Right.
And they ended up hiring him.
Awesome.
So the company took that risk and they said, well, we're hiring one. Our insurance is going to go up for one. They decided to take on that risk. But that's not a likely story if I would have brought 5 or 10.
Gotcha.
So
being real.
Right. That's it. And so just keep in mind, I'm not saying that it's right at all. I'm not, because I'm telling you guys, I honestly think it's the worst thing because like I said, here in Ohio, what they do is when you come out of prison or jail, they want to send you to Columbus State and they want you to get a certificate, and they want you to get a trade, and they want to give you a certificate in a trade. And that's usually something like, it could be cooking, but it's usually not, but it could be construction. Yep. All those different things, administrative, operational, and you'll get this certificate. And then I'm telling you guys, because I've seen it countless times. Okay. So you get out of jail or prison, you take this class for at Columbus State, and it's at a reduced price, or you can sometimes get it for free. And you do 8 or 9 months of getting this certificate. And then what they do at the end is they have employers come in, they do a job fair that is specifically for the students that are in this program. And guess what? If there are 12 employers there, 11 of them will not hire offenders. It's the weirdest thing ever. I'm telling you. I've seen it. Not once, not twice, multiple times. But the government has put it in place for them to get this certificate so that they can have a trade, but then you can't get a job.
Man.
So you're in that wheel, okay? I don't have a trade, so I get a trade. I can't get a job because I don't have a trade. Then I get the trade, and then I still can't get a job because I have this offense on me. I'm telling y'all, I've seen it countless times. But the government feels like they are doing an amazing job because you now have this trade certificate. So then what should you do? Start your own business. Okay.
Yeah, legal endeavors.
Illegal, yes.
Just be very specific, because starting your own business can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Okay, because depending on their background and their upbringing, hey, that hustle was a business. Okay, so we want to make sure that you find a legit means of income. All right. So how you do that, like she said, entrepreneurship. Another way is, like we talked about before, just hitting the pavement and beating the pavement. Just keep going and keep going, applying. Establishing relationships was a key thing that Danielle mentioned. Once you establish relationships, it's kind of hard to say no.
Yep.
To someone. You want to give them a chance because you got to know them as a person. So establishing relationships with people through volunteering efforts, networking with folks, through your family and your friends, walking up to a place of business and asking versus just sending in an application. Awesome way to build rapport. So those are some basic ways. Entrepreneurship, build rapport, volunteer, show yourself to be faithful at whatever you're doing and also your skill set.
Yep.
So I like what you said, Danielle.
Thank you.
So as far as entrepreneurship go, we just mentioned that you should not put on there that you're CEO or the founder or the president of the organization. Find another title that shows some subordinate type of role, and then highlight your skills underneath that in the responsibility section, the bullets underneath. So you could talk about being a manager of a certain amount of people or whatever, but don't say in the title that you were the CEO, the founder, or the president, unless you're applying for a job, whatever, asking you to be an entrepreneur, which is where you take on the responsibility of managing people at that level of an executive type of position. You was just about to say something?
No, I was just agreeing with you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You know, like I said, I know we're here in a transition time and everything, and there's those that, you know, are going to be looking for work. You know, as an entrepreneur, you know, and it's like you still want to work on your dream, you still want to work on your business and everything, but you just need something, you know, in between time. And, you know, like I said, I'm just going to tell you the truth. It's like kind of omit, you know, some of the truth. And oh, Jesus, hold on. Here's another thing. Do not, I repeat, do not sell your items to the person that's interviewing you. So whatever your business is, do not pitch it to them during the interview. Listen, I've had that countless times. And I'm like, I'm not the one that you need to do that with, you know? Wow. And then while you're at the job, you know, don't pitch your business 24/7. So whatever it is that you're doing, you know, don't pitch that to people because it'll get around and it'll be, you know, and that's a conflict of interest as well. You know, I remember a lady was a real estate agent, and she slipped through the cracks. She never even should have been hired, but one of my recruiters had hired her. And I'm just being honest. And sure enough, she was there for 2 weeks and went around and passed around her real estate card to everybody that was in her training class. And I'm like,
oh wow, she didn't even wait to get outside the building to do it in the parking lot.
No, did it? Oh my God. So entrepreneurs, please do not sell your items. You know, you start working there, you get to know people and that kind of thing. But don't, you know, stand in the middle, hear ye, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Sell t-shirts here, you know, like just don't. Don't go to the CEO and the president, you know, trying to ask for a loan. Yes, I've heard that too. I mean, y'all, I have stories for days, and I'm like, this is why I'm really hoping that somebody takes, you know, these tips that I'm saying, because I get it from both ends. Your business is not, you know, where it needs to be financially, and you need to feed your family. And so you need a job. And yes, it's very hard. It's very hard to go to corporate America after you've been an entrepreneur for, you know, 6 months. It's hard to go back to corporate America. I get it. Listen, I do.
Yes.
But you got to go in there with the mindset that, okay, this is temporary. You know, I'm going to still work my business. And yes, it is hard to work 8 hours at corporate America or 9 hours at corporate America, and then go home and work your dream. And thank you, Angel. I know it. I've been there, guys. I promise you, I have been there. It is very hard. But if you keep in the mindset that this is only for a short period of time, and you keep focused on what your end goal is, it is possible. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you take what you've learned at that corporate job and you implement it into your business. I'm not saying steal ideas, because that's wrong. But maybe you learned another way to, you know, get packaging or something. I don't know. You know, see what it is that you've learned. Maybe you've learned how to be more patient. You know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever it is, it has to be something. And everything that you do, there is a lesson. All right. There's something that you can learn from it. So take that. Don't take valuable information from the company. But if there's another way of doing things, that could help your business, then you know what I'm saying, implement that in your own type of way. But don't take ideas. I hope I said that, very clear and very, forward, because you don't want to do that. You want to be clear about that, because you can get in trouble for that as well. Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody were to, to come back on you. But I'm telling you guys, there's a way to do it.
Can I say something, Danielle?
Yeah.
So one thing I learned at a very young age when I started out was that you're supposed to learn on somebody else's dollar. So if you are an entrepreneur and you desire to increase your knowledge in a certain industry, of course you want to go and seek employment in that space. So it's not in vain. Does that make sense? So when you are actually pursuing positions, you're looking for, okay, if I'm a cook, okay, or like our friend Veronica, she's a baker, she makes cakes. If I'm in that industry of culinary arts, okay, then I'm going to go to a facility or employer that does that, right? Somebody that has the food management aspect or food services aspect. Now, how you do it is up to you, whether you want to go through a school system or a nursing home, a hospital, or go straight to retail sales. But you're still getting that hands-on experience and you learning on somebody else's dollar. Okay, so they are taking the risk more so than you are. So that's a benefit. And then you're learning skills, you're gaining experience, and you also are learning about their business model and how they do things. So if you want to kind of tweak the way you do things, incorporate some things, that's fine. But you also got to be, like you said, cautious of what you are taking from that company and implementing, because if it's copywritten, you don't want to do that, right? But if it's not, and you can see some things that are just, how can I say it? It's universal, then it's something that you can probably implement in your business as well. So that's something I want to say.
Yep. That's very good. That's very good. So, as an entrepreneur, I want to encourage those, and I want to offer, just a different side of looking at it when it comes to, going back to corporate America. Like I said, guys, I definitely understand it can be hard, but at a time like this, we're kind of all in the same boat pretty much. So it's like a lot of small businesses are dealing with the same thing. There are tons of opportunities and grants and loans and all that kind of stuff that were supposed to be administered to people that are not. So we're all pretty much in the same boat. So there's tons of people that are probably going to have to go back to corporate America for a little while. And you injecting your knowledge that you have into a company is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't take away from anything. It just gave you another skill set as well, because you're going to learn something. And, just take away from that, just saying, hey, this is only for a short period of time. Do not give up on your dream and your entrepreneur, aspirations. Yeah. Do not give up on that. Just understand this is just a hiccup in the road, and that's okay. And guess what? You're not the only one that's probably dealing with this hiccup, because there are tons of small businesses out here right now that haven't qualified for this loan, if everybody is keeping up on the news, so you're not the only one. I just want you guys to get back into it the right way, which is just to kind of highlight things again, labeling yourself as, you could label yourself as an office manager. You were the office manager for this particular company when you were actually the CEO, or the owner or whatever, office manager, and then list all the skills under there. And, if you did, more than that, you could say you were the driver. You could put multiple titles that you had at that particular job. There's nothing wrong with that. Because you did multiple things, you are the driver, you're the office manager, you're the accountant, you're everything, right? Well, you want to highlight all of those skills and let me know that you're versatile, you know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that you were the CEO. Like I said, you know, office manager is pretty much a great title because an office manager does have to do a lot of things. They do have to do a lot of the umbrella work, you know, at a particular company. So that's a great title to have.
It's safe.
You know, I mean, it's very safe. So that's the main thing I want you to get out of it. Do not sell your product at the job. Do not sell it to the person that is hiring you. Definitely don't do that, guys. Do not sell it to the CEO and president and all that kind of stuff of the company. Do not approach them like, well, you know, hey, I do t-shirts and I know that we're having a basketball team that we're about to have, and I could do the t-shirts for the basket. No, do not do that. Okay, so you want to know how you should do it? The way that you could do that is if you wanted to go this route, which I do not suggest, because think about this. Yes, you have a company, you do t-shirts, right? And this is just an example. I'm not dogging anybody that does t-shirts or by any means or anything. I'm just using this as an example. But let's say, for instance, you do have a t-shirt company, and the company that you do go to work for, they got a basketball team, and that is something that they're going to need, right? Okay, so let's say that they're going to have 5 basketball teams. Okay, listen, my daughter was a basketball girl for a little while, but I still don't know how many people are supposed to be on the team. I just know my child was on the team. That's all I know. I don't know.
Right.
But let's say, for instance, I mean, I know 5 people got to be on the court, so there needs to be at least 10 or 12 people on the team, I would think, so that you can.
Something like that. I'm with you.
Okay. So let's say but I'm gonna make the number bigger. So let's say, for instance, there's 20, and there's 5 different teams that they have because there's different shifts, right? So 20 times 5 is 100.
Oh, times 5 is 100.
Yes. So you need 100 t-shirts, right? So let's think about this. So all you heard was the company needs t-shirts for their basketball team, right? But they need 100 t-shirts. Well, you really kind of just started with okay. So can your company handle 100 t-shirts in 2 days? Because they need the t-shirts in 2 days.
Wow.
So or 3 days. Let's say 3 days. Can your company handle 100 t-shirts, and they need to be 5 different teams, right? So I do know with t-shirt companies, you got to have the 5 different designs, and you got to take them off the grid and all that kind of stuff, right? So can you really honestly say that your company can handle 100 t-shirts in 3 days, 5 different styles? Seriously, think about that. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. If you go out there and somehow you do win that company over and they do give you the business, and then you fall short, what's going to happen?
My God. Lose your job, possibly.
Lose your job. And you're not going to get those t-shirts done, which could have promoted your company. I mean, come on, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you really want to be honest, but you was just so gung-ho to, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to,
yeah.
You heard. Yeah. You just lost your steady money, because if you didn't lose it today, they technically we're in Ohio, an at-will state, meaning they really don't need a reason to fire you. I mean, they need to come correct, but I'm saying they technically don't need a reason to fire you. Hope people understand that too. Ohio is an at-will state. But okay, so they probably won't fire you today. But it's going to be in their mind, and water cooler talk is going to be different. It's going to be different.
Yes. Like awkward. Totally awkward.
Yeah, totally awkward. Why would you risk all of that? You know what I'm saying? Okay, so, but let's say, for instance, your company can handle 100 t-shirts in 3 days and 5 different styles. Let's say, for instance, that you can handle that, because the other thing is, not only are they 5 different styles, but they're 5 different colors. So I need 20 shirts of each. I need 20 green, 20 blue, 20 red. You know what I'm saying? So I need different colors too. And so that means that you have a supply of shirts already for that. Like I said, to get in 3 days. Listen, I'm telling y'all. I'm telling you. So let's say, for instance, though, miraculously, you are able to take care of this order. You for sure thought about, I have 100 t-shirts, 20 each in each color, I can get,
Uh-huh.
I can do it. I can do it. How should I
Right.
approach this company to put my name in the hat?
I honestly wouldn't do it. I will have my coworker or somebody, not coworker at my job, but in my business, somebody who promotes my business to go in on behalf of my business. Does that make sense?
There you go.
I
Yep.
personally wouldn't do it.
Yep. And so what I would do is have a coworker, and if I don't have another employee that works with me because I'm the only employee, okay,
Yeah, solopreneur.
which is
Uncle, cousin, brother, sister, best friend,
exactly
somebody you trust to be able to make that, negotiation for you on behalf of your company.
I'm on the inside of that company, so I know who you should contact. So I'm going to tell you who you should contact to be able to get that job. And I'm going to tell you what to say because I know the person that you need to contact. I've, seen them around the building, so I kind of know a little bit about them. So I'm going to tell you kind of how to approach them and, and work it that way. And I'm telling you guys, that'll save your job because, like I said, if anything goes wrong, it's not attached to you, and all that kind of stuff. Water cooler, you can still go to the water cooler and all that kind of stuff. So just be very, 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 very careful, guys. I know that you get excited about your jobs, but I've seen it countless times. I've seen it more than I should have seen it, to be honest with you. And I'm an entrepreneur. I understand. I'm passionate about my job. Y'all see, I get hype on here because I'm passionate about helping people to be able to get a job and to keep a job. I get passionate about it. And so it's the same thing when you get to corporate America and you want to talk about your t-shirt business. And I'm not, like I said, t-shirt just came to me, y'all. So I ain't dogging nobody with t-shirts.
Right.
But it's just don't, guys.
Turn out to, yes. I mean, people are very picky about you talking about your kids' cookies, and selling cookies at the job or candy bars. So imagine you coming here talking about Mary Kay or Avon. When I was working for the state, I had a Avon account. I was an independent contractor for Avon. Just started out, and people were like, put it in the bathroom, do this and do that. I said, but do you understand? We put our contact information on everything. I was like, so you want me to put a big old thing of lotion in there with my name on there? I said, no, thank you. I said, the fact that I'm actually doing this, I have to report it to the state, the office, the HR office, and let them know I have another job outside of here. Because they have to, see and determine whether or not it's a conflict of interest. But I have to let the state know regardless. So, yeah, it's so awkward. I wouldn't do that.
It is actually.
Say it one more time.
Yep.
Yes, required. Yes, required by the state. Yeah. Because they have a whole big deal about gifts and exchanging of gifts with people and businesses and so forth. So you got to be very careful. And another thing, so the way I handled myself was I wasn't intentionally looking for clients, but if somebody knew that I sold Avon, maybe because we were eating lunch together and I mentioned it or something, which is not on their time, it's on my time, I was able to get a client that way. It wasn't like I went out seeking people, but if I'm casually talking to someone and I'm talking about Avon or they see something I have that's Avon, oh, where you get that from, girl? I like that brand. That's my favorite. My mom used to get Avon. I want to get that. I can say on my break, my lunch break, when they don't pay me, that I got this from Avon.
Not your 15-minute break.
Not my 15-minute break. No, ma'am. Because I'm still on the clock technically. Yeah. So when I'm on my 30-minute, my hour lunch or 45-minute lunch break outside the office or just in casual talking, I can mention it. Okay. And say, yeah, I'm an Avon rep and I'm probably give them my business card or, tell them to hit me up after work. But don't tell me to bring Avon to work to give it to you. We can meet before, we can meet after, we can be on lunch break outside in my car or whatever, but don't ask me to bring it into you at work and place it on your desk or whatever, because that's just too much of a risk, and then people start seeing it and you get a lot of people gossiping in the office about you having Avon, and it could be good because they want your business. I mean, they want to give you business, but at the same time, it can go back to your employer and they're thinking that you're intentionally going around selling the product.
Nope.
So you don't want your good to be spoken evil of, so just keep it under wraps and just try your best and make it black and white.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why they don't want you doing that is because it takes away from productivity. So when were you talking about?
Amen.
Was it always at lunchtime? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to think that it was always at lunchtime, because it probably wasn't, because we're human. You know, at some point in time during the day, I came and gave you the money or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to,
I don't do that. I was like,
you know what I'm saying? It's not always that it was talked about at lunch, because we already know, you know what I'm saying? So that time that you took away to talk about that, you know, you could have been doing extra work, because it's always about productivity at a job. So just keep that in mind, guys, you know, and just steer away from it, and you know, just try not to do it seriously. But hopefully you receive something. This is our time. We will be back on Thursday with more tips to give to you.
Tips and tricks.
And tips and tricks to be able to give you, so that you can get that job.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Feed your family, take care of your family. Yes, that's what we're about.
Yep. So thank you so much. Please share this. Please join in with us on Thursday, and we will see you. Have an amazing evening. Peace.
All right. Peace.